Sister dropped her kids for me to babysit for weeks so she can have a Babymoon with her app. I told her darlings the reason I'm child-free. Now I might involve the cops. Updated. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my sister's kids for several weeks while she is on a Babymoon with her boyfriend? Original post. I 28 female have a sister Jamie 38 female who has 3 kids. Melanie 11 female, Sarah 8 female, and Carl 5 male with her ex-husband, whom she divorced 6 months ago due to her cheating with her current boyfriend, Danielle 62 male. Jamie's kids are absolute brats, and last time they came over 3 years ago, Melanie smashed a vase and Sarah scribbled on my Uggs with permanent marker. This was when I decided to become child-free. I also decided to distance myself from them, though I do speak to them, and we have occasional family dinners at my aunt's place. Anyway, Jamie and Daniel are expecting a child, a boy, and they decided to go on a Babymoon, which will happen in a week. They're not very wealthy. Jamie spent nearly all of her money on the trip, and Daniel will be working double shifts until and after the Babymoon to support them both, so they did not hire a babysitter. Yesterday, Jamie unexpectedly called me and asked if I could babysit her kids. I said no as I have been getting a degree online and have to fly to my university for my graduation ceremony. At first, she tried to persuade me, saying her kids are absolute darlings and that I won't even notice they are there. I told her my answer was still the same. Then she went off on a rant and called me all kinds of things, like that I'm a heartless bee who can't have a little compassion for her poor pregnant sister. I told her that if she wants somebody to work for her for free, she can actually get a job and not sleep with men who are literally old enough to be her father in the hopes that they are rich. She hung up and is now bombarding me with texts begging me to reconsider. I am beginning to feel a bit guilty. Should I have been nicer to Jamie? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. You're under no obligation to babysit your nieces and nephews, especially when it's for an extended period and you have your own commitments. Your sister's behavior is unreasonable and disrespectful. Babymoon? Folks are just making up holidays on the fly now. Not the a-hole. It meant for first-time parents. The last time it's just the two of you, not for a fourth kid. Why can't you leave them with their daddy? He lives in another country. Then that's the country they should vacation in so he can keep the kids. Bro, try and tell that to her. She's literally going to a tropical island that's a 5-hour flight from here. If she'd had to go to her ex's country, she'd have to pay for round-trip 12-hour flights for 2 adults and 3 kids, plus hotels, cabs, food, etc., and she'd have to take her kids and not get the chill Babymoon with her baby daddy that she wanted because she'd have to take the kids and communicate with her ex. Now for the update. Last night, Jamie texted me. She seemed upset. Apparently, she had to cancel her Babymoon because I rudely denied the amazing opportunity to watch her kids. However, not everything from the canceled trip was fully refunded. So she demanded that I compensate her for the rest and also pay for a fully funded trip to Disney for her, Daniel, and the kids. She also sent me links to several things, such as a pack of Japanese expensive diapers, baby clothes, baby shoes, what baby needs mini Asics that cost a fortune, and other stuff, totaling about $500. I didn't text back and blocked her. Later, Daniel called me. I didn't pick up. At about midnight, Jamie showed up at my house and dropped Melanie, her 11-year-old, off. Now I'm conflicted. Should I call the police and get Jamie in trouble and possibly get Melanie in trouble with Jamie, or should I go to her house and sort this out myself? Did Melanie say why she was dropped off? Also, honestly, sounds like the relationship between you and her is over. I'd planned to go no contact. She said it was because her mommy needed her auntie to be a good aunt and watch a child for once in her life. The aunt is me. Her sister is just like my cousin. We'll post constantly on Facebook about her children being her world, but we drop them all the moment a new baby daddy enters her life. What a sad existence. Not the a-hole. Call the police. Tell them your sister abandoned her child and that she has threatened to abandon all of her kids and disappear for multiple weeks, whether you're available or agree or not. Let him come and get your niece and make her face the consequences. Unless you give her consequences, she will continue abusing you. So it's the only way to stop this for good. Take action. She broke the law by abandoning her daughter when she knew you were against it. Let her face child services and the police for it. Also, call the dad and offer to testify to give him full custody if he wants it. Reaching out to the dad could really help. He needs to know what's going on so he can protect the kids. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to maintain a bond with my granddaughter after my daughter asked her uncle to walk her down the aisle at her wedding? For context, a month before my daughter married her husband, I filed for divorce for my wife. My wife had emotionally cheated on me for a couple of months, and I couldn't really get over it. Now, while the timing wasn't great, I just did not want to be with my wife anymore, and I did not want to pretend to be happy with her. My wife and I informed our daughter, and we were honest about what happened since our daughter was an adult. However, my daughter was devastated and asked how I could do this to her just a month before her wedding. She said her mom clearly regretted what happened and was desperately trying hard to save the marriage, but my daughter said that regardless, she understood my decision to divorce. But why would I do it just a month before her wedding, the happiest day of her life? The whole thing was a mess, but my daughter did get over the shock after a week or so. However, she was really angry with me, and even though I was invited to the wedding, she withdrew my invitation to walk her down the aisle and ask her uncle to do it instead. It really hurt me, but it was my daughter's special day, so I didn't make a fuss. At the end of the day, I was happy for her. She at least did a father-daughter dance with me. However, after the wedding, I gradually distanced myself from my daughter. She understood the reason for it. A year later, my daughter apologized for not asking me to walk her down the aisle. I told her it was okay and that there was no reason to apologize, but there was also no reason for us to have a bond anymore. My daughter thankfully understood my decision. It hurt me to say these things because she looked really sad, but it was time I put myself first. A few months ago, my daughter gave birth to her first baby. Over the past couple of months, she has been calling a lot, apologizing, and crying because she really wants her daughter to have a bond with me. But the truth is, I just don't care. I feel emotionally detached. And at this stage in my life, I don't want to put effort into someone who betrayed me so badly. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I lost my mom 2 years ago. Now your ex-wife is thankfully still alive, but your daughter's behavior and yours reminds me of my own behavior and my father's following my mom's passing. Just pain everywhere. I couldn't talk to my dad because I couldn't handle his pain as well as my own. My dad now feels emotionally distant from all his children, even those who've been in constant contact and by extension from his grandchildren, because he's numb with grief and understandably resentful that his later years aren't going as he planned. What you and your daughter are experiencing sounds like anger masking grief. It is totally understandable, but my best advice is talk to your daughter and enjoy your grandchild. Let the child heal the rift between you. There's a whole new vista of love and adventure wrapped up in that kid for you right there. It's not really a matter of who's the a-hole. It's a matter of what's going to make the rest of your life happiest. I'm just an internet stranger, so disregard if you like. But I'd be grabbing the new opportunity for joy and love with both hands if I were you. All the best. Excellent advice. My family fell apart after a parent died. It's quite common. Divorce and weddings are right up there in terms of stress, and all these things tend to bring out the worst in everyone because they're just so incapacitated by grief and pain. Take this advice, Sophie, for your own sake most of all. Not the ol for feeling that way, but you're the ol for telling your daughter that everything is fine, that she did nothing wrong, and that all is forgiven while getting increasingly angry about it. This gave her no chance to mend fences with you because she didn't know anything was wrong. You need to get some therapy for yourself. This won't necessarily make you forgive her or have a relationship with your grandchild, but it may help you deal with what happened. It may also help you understand whether you do or don't want to have a relationship with either your daughter or your grandchild going forward. It may even help you determine whether you want to ask your daughter to attend family therapy with you. On that part, I feel like this is an everyone sucks here situation, but it is possible to forgive and move on without going back to the status quo or re-establishing ties. EP and others who feel they have been slighted by someone don't owe them any obligation to mend fences and repair the relationship. Next story. Am I the a-hole for freaking out at my friends after they implied my husband was a predator? I, 27 female, and my husband, 29 male, have been together for 10 years and married for 6. He's the love of my life. When we got together, he moved in with me and my family because I lived with my parents at the time in a very expensive city. I have 3 younger siblings, 16 female, 14 male, and 12 female. For all their 14th birthdays, I've always said I would take them on a trip. We took my sister on a trip for her 14th birthday, and now at the end of this month, we are taking my little brother. My husband and my brother get along better than anyone. Neither of them have a brother. My husband has a sister, and my brother is the only boy out of the 6 of us. So they gravitate toward each other, and it's incredibly sweet to see. It's like they were meant to be brothers. Last night, I was hanging out with a few of my friends, and I was talking about how we are planning on taking my brother on a trip. I joked about how I would be third-wheeling the entire time because they get along so well. A few of my friends laughed, but one of them gave me a weird look. She said that sounded really weird and inappropriate if my husband was giving my younger brother more attention than me. I said no. It wasn't like that at all. They just get along well, and it was a joke. That friend then said it was inappropriate that my almost 30-year-old husband is so close with my brother who is a minor and that she wouldn't be surprised if it was a grooming situation and I was blind to it. I freaked the heck out, not gonna lie. I yelled at her. How dare she imply anything like that about my husband whom she has met and gets along with? I told her she was the pervert for thinking that my husband, who was the only boy in his family, bonding with my younger brother, who is the only boy in ours, was inappropriate. I left and went home. Since then, the group chat has been blowing up with people taking sides, some agreeing that it is kinda weird and others saying she was way out of line and needs to get over herself. I haven't told my husband because I don't want him to feel weird, but I'm starting to feel bad about how I handled it, wondering if I overreacted and should have just left. Am I the a-hole? Lol, WTF, absolutely not the a-hole. I would have lost my mind if I was in your position. Just like someone telling that my boyfriend getting along so well and bonding with my nephew is creepy. No, girl. You're creepy for taking a brotherly/friendly bond and immediately assuming it's sexual. Barf. I completely agree. Also, it makes me wonder how messed up your friend's life is. Opie needs to cut off this friendship and tell her husband. Imagine finding out your wife's friends think you're a pedo. It would be a betrayal if he wasn't kept in the loop here. If he finds out later, he might think his wife was complicit. Not the a-hole, as long as they haven't seen your partner with your brother. If they have, they may have been trying to raise concerns about something they've witnessed. Otherwise, it's totally sweet and normal for long-term partners to be close to the siblings of their partner. These are my childhood friends. They have seen my husband with my brother, and I can % guarantee there has never been anything remotely creepy or sexual going on between them. I'm a housewife. My husband works from home. We are together, no joke, 24/7. And I am always around when he is around my brother. There is nothing. I just check in to see if she just lived through grooming herself and kinda just sees it everywhere. At this point, I don't give a damn if she had. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law that her boyfriend needs to move out of the house? Well, I haven't told my wife and her sister yet that the sister's boyfriend needs to move out. I went to cross my T's and dot my I's legally first. Nonetheless, here is the situation. I 40 male bought a house with my wife while I was living overseas. My wife allowed her sister, her 2 kids, and the sister's boyfriend to move into the house with her since I wasn't living there. The boyfriend 30 male quickly claimed the garage and made it his man cave. My wife didn't care if she'd ever went to the garage. When I say he made it his man cave, I mean that he stays down there all day and often sleeps there. He comes out to go to work unless he has been laid off, goes to the bathroom, and raids the refrigerator since he doesn't eat meals with the family. After being overseas for almost 3 years, I have now lived in the house for nearly 2 years. At my wife's request, I have looked into buying a second home. That way, they could rent one of the homes from us, which would also provide me with the space I need in my own house. While we were looking at houses, I allowed him to use the garage. It turns out that we can't buy a second house because after agreeing to pay $700 a month in rent, they have consistently fallen short by $200 to $400 a month. 8 months ago, I brought home a motorcycle and told him that he needed to make room in the garage so I could rebuild it. He agreed. Unfortunately, he never followed through and continued to sleep in the garage. So in mid-December, I told him he needed to move his stuff out of the garage, and I gave him a 3-week time frame. Well, we are now well over a month and a half past that deadline. He has told me that he stays in the garage because he doesn't like living here. He has also said that he will remove his stuff from the garage, but he has yet to follow through. He is upset that he has lived here for this long and doesn't understand why everything has to change now. He tells me he doesn't have a place to put his stuff and that his family will move out soon despite not actually having a time frame. I have pointed out that he can simply pack his stuff in boxes and stack it in a corner since he is moving anyway, or he can get a storage unit like I had to because his family is taking up 3 bedrooms in my garage. His answer to this was to threaten to kick my butt and tell me to talk to my sister-in-law because he doesn't want to talk to me. There is obviously more to the story, but those are the basics. If more details are needed, let me know. I will provide them. Finally, my first inclination was to let him off with a warning and make it clear that under no circumstances should he ever threaten me again because I would go to the police if it ever happened again. However, after sleeping on it, I am leaning toward removing him from the property now. My reason is simple. I wouldn't tolerate him threatening violence against anyone else in the house. So in that train of thought, threatening me should be no different. Not the a-hole. He's been disrespecting you and threatening you. Time for him to go. Not the a-hole. I had something kind of similar happen to me. I allowed this couple to rent storage space in one of the buildings on the property while they lived in their travel trailer near the garage. It wasn't long before they decided to live in it full-time against my wishes. Eventually, they stopped paying rent but didn't want to leave. Long story short, after more police visits to my house than I can count and thousands of dollars later, I finally managed to legally evict them after a year. The police came and forcibly removed them from the property because even at that point, they still refused to leave. Such a joke. What I learned from this nightmare was, don't wait to start the legal process. Get a landlord's advocate. A professional who specializes in winning evictions for landlords. Even if you think you can handle the mountain of paperwork and legal process yourself, get one anyway. Do this right away, family or not. If you call the police, all they will do is tell you this is a civil issue and needs to be taken to court unless there is actual physical violence, of course. Let's hope it never comes to that extreme. Good luck to you, and I hope everything works out for the best. Yep, this right here. Most states favor the tenant, and it takes a year to get someone out.